Well, guys, this is an absolute pleasure. I'm speaking to my friend that I've known for about close to 3 years now. I've been following the band for about 4 years. But I'm talking to Andrew Fisher, which I personally call him Fish, from Headbore. Good evening, Fish, and thanks for joining me again.
Hey, Jamie, how you going, mate? Yeah, good, great to be here, mate. Thanks for having me.
And, man, before we get into the new album and the new gig that's coming up next Saturday here at Fowlers Live, let's go into a bit of storytelling, shall we? We had a bit of laughs, we had a bit of drinks. I've seen you many times over at different gigs, either here in Adelaide or over in Melbourne. And we were talking about the new album, The Grey, which is coming out very, very shortly. And lo and behold, you've blown your voice. I just want to ask, how did that came about so the fans can understand what it's like to be in a recording studio, laying down vocal tracks and blowing your voice at the same time?
Yeah, that wasn't ideal. I felt really bad. I mean, it can't be helped, but everyone else in the band had finished all their parts, so it was, up to me to get the album done. And I was probably only halfway through my sessions down Against the Grain with Andy, just going for some pretty, for me anyway, some of the higher stuff I do, trying to build it out and hold it for as long as I could. And just felt something sort of go, and spent the next 2 weeks just having to clear my throat every, I don't know, sort of half a minute and all that, before the doctor finally told me that's the wrong thing to do. But yeah, it set me back probably a good 6 weeks before I was, maybe even longer before I was able to scream again. But I just don't hold back in the studio, because like live you can let the microphone do a little bit of work and help you through little bits and pieces that'll be fast or whatever, but in the studio I just like to give it 100% and just leave absolutely nothing held back, so that's probably why that happened to me. But yeah, thankfully it healed up and finished the album.
Yeah. And what song was that when you blew your vocal cord for that? Was that over many songs, or what song do you recall that you actually blew it?
I think it was either The Grey or False, one of those two maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, The Grey, in my personal opinion, is probably the best album that you guys have released to date. And also, for my personal experience seeing you guys live so many times over in the last couple of years, Chris Ward has to be one of the most underrated guitarists going around at the moment, because the riffs that comes out of this album, The Grey, you guys should, and I've said this many times face to face, you guys should be headlining a support act with a major band, and you haven't done that yet. You haven't been on a support slot with a major band from overseas yet. Hopefully now, once this album comes out, you guys will get a slot. And I have pushed you guys to get the Fear Factory one coming up in a couple of months' time. And we know what happened with Seven Dust. They got given to somebody else. But we had plenty of talks about this. You guys need a bit of a kick on a support act at HQ or the Gov with one of these known bands that come overseas.
Yeah, and that's, just go back to your start of your question about Wardy and guitar playing and all that. We often, pretty much most gigs we're at, the boys will just have a bit of a laugh and we're watching another band, someone's just absolutely shredding and just go, yeah, well, I give up. These guys are amazing. But I think what Wardy does is just the amount of riffs and the way they get constructed together with him and Luke, just awesome. And we always say that we don't think we're one of the most talented bands going around, but just with the riffs that Wardy writes, just gives us the ability to write really good songs with them. So I think Wardy is amazing with what he comes up with. And yeah, our aim this year was really to get international support. And we've gone for quite a few. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where you never get told why you didn't get it. It's just, it gets announced on Facebook or social media that some band got the support. So, yeah, fingers crossed after this album comes out, a few more people will sit up and take notice of what we're doing. But, yeah, we haven't had any luck yet, unfortunately. So, yeah, fingers crossed that'll happen later this year.
Yeah, well, I do know this for a fact. A lot of people are giving you a thumbs up trying to get the Fear Factor. I put it up there on the page, on the event page, and a lot of people are putting their thumbs up. But the thing is, with The Grey now coming out to be released I know the album launch is next Saturday at the Fowlers Live. That could set up the plateau for you guys to get recognised for an opening slot with a major band. But as saying that, let's go back a bit before the Grey album. You have released many other video clips, like you've done Trenches, you've done Rise Up. Now you've done one on the Grey where you're at an old mental asylum ward. Let's talk about that. How was that for you guys to film in one of those old mental asylum wards, just shooting a video like this?
It was one of the most fun weekends I've ever had. We came up with a concept for the film clip. I thought, okay, well, where do we want to do it? And if we're going to do that, we have to do it somewhere where it looks real. Like, it looks like if you're in that actual environment. You can't just go to a warehouse or something to try and pull that off. So we tried that place like Adelaide Jail and all that. And then I think Daisy actually came across the old Z-Ward at Glenside. And it was just still intact as it was back when they had patients in there. And we hired it out for a full weekend. It was, I think, 42 degrees both days, so that was a bit testing. But we just had concepts for what we wanted to do. We hadn't rehearsed anything, and so hopefully one day we'll put up all the outtakes from us filming it, because basically it's just us trying to act and pissing ourselves laughing because people are just doing things off the cuff, and, you know, we weren't expecting it all to happen and that. But, yeah, it was an absolutely amazing place to visit. You know, I'd be getting ready to do a scene, and you'd look down the windowsill and someone's had scratched Death for Cassie into a windowsill in one of the cells, and you think, shit, man, like, this place was pretty full on. And I walked away with the assumption that no one that went there could have come out any better than when they went in. It just looks like a horrible place to be in.
A lot of good things been happening on the off period, like between the last album and this album. I mean, Wardy's just been married. He quit smoking as well. He got married. You and Wardy go to Adelaide United. They resurrection like the Lazarus, or coming last December. Now they're one game away to win it all this Sunday. You know, you've been walking, trying to catch a bus, but managed to miss the bus. But then you still had a carton on your shoulder, walking up the hill, and then by the time you finish a couple of beers, a bus that you want to get to where you were goes past you. I mean, a lot of good things been happening with you guys. But when I want to buy you a beer at our famous place, Enigma Bar, I didn't know that you can't drink full carbs beer. And I'm not going to go into it why, or if you want to, that's your choice. But every time when I want to buy you a beer, you say you don't drink full carbs. I did not know that.
Very, very good reason for that. It's not by choice. I was always a red tins man like Wardy and Daisy.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I got a Chinese flu about 3 and a bit years ago, and somehow just triggered off type 1 diabetes in me. So I've been living with that ever since. So unfortunately, with alcohol, I can only really drink low-carb beer or like vodka with, like diet lemonade or Coke or something like that in it. So never being rude. I always appreciate you offering to buy me a beer, but it just has to be the right type.
Yeah.
And, I still manage to hold my own with, even though I'm not supposed to drink that much. Most of the times I manage to hold my own with the rest of the lads.
Yeah. Now, I didn't know about the Grey album. I did not know it was going to be called the Grey, but I did know about this album. It was in the pipeline. You keep dropping hints every time we meet up at a gig. I've done 8 songs today. And then you blew your voice, then you put it on hold. There was a bit of a bump in the road, and then now officially I got to listen to the album today, a couple of nights ago, when Jason North from Truth Inc. Records, another awesome guy too. This album, from start to finish, has got many great licks in it, like Pending Disaster. If you listen to the opening riff, and you can picture Fish here dancing to the melody of Chris Ward and the other guys when they do the guitar riff at the start. It's like an Indian type of melody at the start, then it really gets you a knuckle punch when it gets into the first chorus. But then you got Divide and then the Grey, which was mentioned. But when you go right down to the second half of the album, like Slade, legacy and human disease, you can tell that Headbore has come around such a long way. I mean, I used to go around saying, run and hide your bastard, because the last T-shirt I've got off Headbore has it on the back. But this time around, they really have stepped up a different level. And Fish, I want to say, man, from top to bottom, I can't explain any enough words to describe, because if I leave anything out, I'll get into a writer's block when I do my review. But from top to bottom, this album really knocked it out of the ballpark, because with bands like Akira, who brought out a smashing album last year, then you have you guys who just released The Grey and all that. All you guys follow like a simple pattern, because you're all close-knit together. Voros, on another hand, got a new album as well. But you guys are like brothers. We're like one big, huge metal community. But every album that comes out of Adelaide at the moment has been really knocking it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, and first off, thank you for what you said about The Grey. That's really great to hear, because you're one of the first handful of people to hear the album. So, we've only ever really listened to it ourselves and families and a few mates. We played a couple of songs here and there, but you're probably, one of the first 5 people to hear the album. So,
yeah. I did ask if I can listen to it, and look what happened.
That's it. Asking you shall receive. That's it, man. But and as far as being tight-knit, like, I remember, because we signed on to True Think last year, and sitting down in the meeting with Greg and just talking about things, and I remember me saying one thing at the meeting, and I just said, I can't imagine playing music with anyone but these 4 guys sitting around the table now. Like, we're just so close, such great mates, and it just helps because we can say what we want to say. Like what you were saying about before about the songs towards the back of the album being good, like the arguments we have about what order the album should be in on both albums were quite legendary on the first one, not so much on this one, but, I wanted Slaves up higher, someone wanted another one down low, and, we hatched it out and we argued out pretty strongly, but at the end of the day, we all know we're trying to get to the same spot, and yeah, man, like, it's awesome having, obviously Truth Corroded, us, Alkira, Voros, all on True Think label at the moment. We're already great mates in the scene, and it's such a cool little community, the Adelaide metal scene, and especially the vibe between all the bands. I remember sitting down at Soundwave, and there was probably 15 or 20 of us sitting in a circle, and we're discussing Ty's birthday for Voros coming up. And we're like, who's playing? And he pretty much pointed to every person in the circle, and every person in that circle was in a band and was playing his birthday. So, yeah, it's an amazing little community we've got going, that's for sure.
Well, I remember seeing you at last year's Soundwave. We came over from the main stage back to stage 4, and that was a Saturday, and it was blistering hot, over 40 degrees. And here you are, just drinking your low-carb beer. I needed a full one because we've been standing in the sun all day. But you're right, just seeing the community and the bands just standing in a circle, just having a chat, waiting for, I think at that stage was Ministry was about to hit on the stage. We're all having a chat before that. And, man, just to see the brotherhood and speaking to you and Wardy and a couple of other guys that we know, it's just amazing. Just don't give a shit about anything, about politics, anything about that. We're all there having a good time, sipping on a cold one and having a chat. But also, the last gig that you did last year at the Enigma Bar, that was probably one of the best energetic gigs in a long time since seeing you guys play, because that room upstairs, it does get hot during the summer, but that was full of energy. You guys played a short set. You had thrown in a couple of new songs off The Grey in the set too. And I'm pretty sure this was either just before the Dimebags tribute or just after. You had one last headline gig with like a little festival gig that happened upstairs. But that gig alone was... No, it was a Dimebag gig last year. It was the Dimebag gig. You won the bill.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
You guys put in a short set, but that gig, that performance would probably be one of the best high energetic in a long time, because what I mean by that, the crowd really got involved. and you obviously fed off that crowd too.
Oh, absolutely. And, I mean, it comes with playing a lot of shows. You get more comfortable with being on stage and what you can and can't do, and alcohol always plays a great part in us getting up and about, which is cool. But also, and the crowd, man, like, we always treat it as in, even if there's 5-10 people there doing nothing, just watching you, not moving, just still give it everything, because you might win over that 1 or 2 people that are standing there watching that haven't seen you before. So we still give absolutely everything. But when you've got a room full of people going off, you just see that, and it just makes you want to go 10 times harder as well. Just absolutely fires you up. And short sets, man, like we're getting a bit older now. We're not the fittest blokes in the world, so I think you'll find us in a 20-minute set versus a 40-minute set. We're going to be a lot more energetic throughout the whole thing, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, this Saturday, for those fans who don't know, South Australia has got a heavy SA music festival at Fowlers Live. It's on at 7th of May. Starts at 11:45, so I think the first band will probably just start after midday sometime. But for those wondering, it's only going to showcase Adelaide only finest metal bands. You've got Truth Corroder, Alkira, Headbore, Simakara, Gorlap, Justitia, Mammoth, Boros, Chili and Tent, A Modern Lamarth, Whipwater, a lot of others, Wounded Pig, Soul Screamer. I mean, this is like what New Dead is about, but New Dead's been put back this year. Some things are working out with Jason, and he's trying to get some bands on the bill for that. So he decided to put a collaboration of all these great metal bands from South Australia, so we can claim that we do actually have our own metal festival, like what Melbourne does every year with Brutality, and what Perth does with Storm Rider as well. But this one is only for Adelaide. And not only that, I probably interviewed, I know, probably about 75 to 80% of the bands at Sony, because every time when Headbore plays, they're on the bill with Truth Corroder or Alkira or Gorlap. I mean, this is the metal community. And if you saw it last year for New Dead, a lot of young fans came along, and it's an underage, or not underage, but all-age gig. We want you guys to come along, buy yourself a ticket through the bands. I know some bands have got cheap tickets going on at the moment. These are running out like hotcakes, and I believe this is going to sell out too on Saturday. But Fish, you've got to be so thrilled to actually play in a Adelaide only metal fest.
Oh, definitely, man. And like, first up, we were like, oh, when's New Dead happening? When's New Dead happening? But when Jason came up with this idea, it was just like, this is just awesome to get. Obviously quite a few bands aren't playing, but the amount of just amazing SA bands that are playing on this bill is just brilliant. And the fact that it also gives bands that don't get to play to a massive audience very often a chance to play to a bigger crowd as well, which I think is really awesome. Yeah. And the fact that us and Gorlaps, get it right, get to launch our albums on it is just absolutely brilliant. Like, when we planned our last launch, we thought it went off really well. Thinking about how we're going to do it this year, asking Truth Inc., and they were just like, just don't worry about it, boys. You'll have a pretty cool launch. And, they delivered on that in spades, And, yeah, it looks like it's going to go close, if not sell out. And so if people haven't got a ticket, there are a few bands. I think I saw Decidia today still had a few left. We've got a handful left because we've got another allocation off of Jason. So you can hit us up or Decidia up, or Jason's doing it through... Yeah. I should know it off my head, but I don't. But yeah, if you haven't got a ticket, get there, because it's going to be seriously the best gig so far this year, if not well into the year, of local bands, that's for sure.
Yeah. And also do know this, that if you do buy it from Headbore, the tickets that's still remaining, you do go on a chance to win their latest album, The Grey. I don't know if that's still the go, Fish, but that's what was happening before. Yeah,
anyone that buys a ticket through Big Cartel goes into the draw, and 5 people who buy tickets off us through Big Cartel will win a free copy of our album, which we'll either send it to them, or if they're coming on the night, we'll organise to give it to them then.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll have new T-shirts, hopefully, because the last we heard there was industrial dispute in Germany and they've been held up. But I think they're away now, so fingers crossed they'll be there on the night as well. And we are absolutely stoked with the design, like the album cover. We think it looks really brilliant. So hopefully people like it, and shoot a few bucks our way would be nice.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, before the AFL starts, I know the last T-shirt had a slogan, "Run and hide, you bastards." So what will be the new slogan when the grey comes out?
We haven't actually gone with a slogan on this one. That was another great debate between the five of us. A lot of arguing about that one as well. But no, mate, it's really just the grey, the headboard and the grey on the front there. Yeah. And it's similar to the album cover, which we posted on social media in the last couple of days. Yep. I think it's actually a freakier, better version of that. Basically, what's on the cover, what's on the T-shirt, I think actually looks, I don't know, freaks me out, man. It looks fucking awesome. So, yeah, hopefully people like it as well. And a good thing about it, you're still using the bull head from the first T-shirt off the album too. Because if you look behind the lady with the gas chamber on her face, behind that you can actually still see the bull head. Yeah, man, we really love that logo, and we need to get it like really properly done by someone really good to get it done properly. But we always like to incorporate that logo, you know, by itself or in behind a shot and all that, because we think it's really cool. And fingers crossed we can actually get it up on a big banner one day, or something had to have behind the stage and that. Yeah. Well, guys, there you have it. Get down to Fowlers Live this Saturday. Check out all the Australian Adelaide bands, metal, whatever it is. Just get down there, write your mum a note, wish her a happy Mother's Day, and she'll probably give you $10-15 just to have a good time down at Fowlers Live. So if you be good to your mum, you might get rewarded to get down to Fowlers Live this weekend. Just one last thing, you reckon Adelaide United will win this Sunday? They better, mate. I've watched them lose 2 grand finals. I've got my ticket, and me and a heap of mates are going to get down there nice and early and get fired up. So if they get up, I'll be in a pretty damn good mood come heavy FA next Saturday night, that's for sure. No worries. Well, I better let you go. The footy's about to start, man, but I want to see you on Saturday and have a nice cold one and really enjoy your performance on Saturday night. Absolutely, mate. As always, thank you for your support, like here, and all the things you post about us and trying to get us international supports and that, mate. We really appreciate it. And, keep up the good work with your show, man. No worries, man. I'll catch you down there this Saturday at Fowlers Live. Catch you, man. Catch you, man.